Welcome to Weight Loss and Wellness for Real, the podcast where people like you get the practical solutions and support you need to permanently lose the physical and mental weight so you can feel better and live the life you really want to live in the body and mind you really want to be living in. If you're looking to overcome your stress eating, overeating, binging behaviors, and move to a place of food and body freedom, as well as find more meaning and more moments of joy in life, you are in the right place. Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in and listening today. Are going to dive into, I guess to me, this is a really important idea that I think a lot of us don't think about. Last week's episode was on emotion regulation, and this sort of falls under that category with some other strategies. So I titled it Write It Out, Talk It Out, so you don't have to act it out. I kind of like the phrase because it really points to something that so many of us experience. We have these strong emotions or difficult thoughts, and when we don't process them, they do come out in ways that are not typically helpful. Sometimes that's overeating, sometimes it's snapping at a loved one or withdrawing from the people who care about us. But there is another path, there's another way through this, and that is processing those emotions before they kind of take over, before they take control. We'll dig into this concept with some compassion, some curiosity. I really want you to come away from today's episode feeling empowered to handle your emotions in ways that really bring you peace rather than distress. So I used a metaphor maybe an episode or two ago about the beach ball. That's kind of the classic one with emotions where you try to hold the beach ball under the water. That's when we're repressing. You can do it for so long, but eventually that beach ball pops up, which is such explosion. That's kind of when your emotions take over or sort of explode, if you will. I got another metaphor we can use for you. Maybe this one is one that fits better for you, but you can think of emotions like steam building up in a pressure cooker. And when that pressure builds, it really needs a release. That's why it has the little release button on the pressure cooker. And if we don't find a way to let out the steam safely, the cooker might explode, which causes a ton of damage. So in our emotional lives, this explosion can look like acting out. It can look like overeating, over drinking, lashing out, or self sabotaging behaviors. And don't forget that one. We talk a lot about self sabotage, and that really can occur because we are not releasing emotions or processing emotions in a healthy way. If we really can learn to write it out or talk it out, we're essentially releasing that steam in a very controlled, healthy way. I'm not sure if you can hear my cat, who is now all of a sudden crying because, of course, I started recording. So she starts crying to get into my room. Sorry. If we write it out, if we talk it out, we're really releasing that steam in a very controlled, healthy way. We prevent the buildup from reaching that boiling point. So I wanted to talk about the actual science behind this because I'm sure all of you have heard, talk out your emotions or write out, the journaling, write out your emotions. I really want you from this episode to understand the science behind it and why we know this works. It does work. So research shows us that writing about your emotions, and usually this is known as expressive writing, can significantly reduce emotional distress. In fact, studies from psychologists like Dr. James Penbaker have demonstrated that writing about traumatic or stressful experiences really helps people process their feelings, their emotions, and to heal faster. When you write down your feelings, you're giving them shape and structure, which reduces their power over you. Similarly, talking it out activates different areas of your brain. I've been a therapist forever, so I know a lot about this research. And if we look at brain scans, when we're talking out our feelings, it really does activate different areas of the brain. We can see that when we verbalize our feelings, when we're putting words to our feelings, we stimulate the parts of the brain responsible for emotion regulation, and that's especially the prefrontal cortex. And this is the part of your brain that helps you think rationally and make thoughtful decisions. So, talking to a friend, a therapist, or even to yourself out loud can help your brain process emotions, which makes them feel less overwhelming. So, this is about reducing the intensity of those emotions. For those of us who are big feelers or who get flooded or overwhelmed with emotions often, it's really important for us to really pay attention to this, that we can be writing out on a regular basis how we're feeling or talking it out with someone we trust. So, personally, remember a time when I was going through something incredibly stressful, and I kept telling myself I could handle it on my own, which is super typical of me. I am one of those people. I never want to ask for help. Was super hyper recovering as a super hyper independent person. So this was really normal, right? I'm super stressed. I'm super upset, but my words to myself, I can handle it. I can deal with it. I can do it on my own. But over time, I really started noticing I was more irritable with my daughter, which really got my attention because it was really important to me to have a healthy relationship with her. I also noticed I was emotionally eating a lot more. I was binging more often. I was less able to concentrate, kind of like brain fog stuff. My unprocessed emotions were seeping out in these very subtle but harmful ways. And it wasn't until I sat down and journaled one evening, just pouring out my thoughts on the page, that I started to finally feel just a little bit lighter. And I hadn't solved the problem, but I had released some of the pressure. And this is what happens when we act it out instead of writing or talking it out. Our emotions sneak out in other ways, ways that don't align with our values or who we want to be. So let's start with writing it out. I have found that journaling, it is one of the most powerful tools we have for emotional release. I get a lot of pushback on this one because people don't feel they have the time. They feel they don't know how to do it. They don't know what to do. They have a fear of writing down their thoughts and someone might see it. All kinds of excuses for it. But I just want to really, really make the case for trying to figure out a routine of journaling, even if that's just once a week, like maybe on a Sunday morning when you have a little bit more time, and literally you're just going to write for 1 minute. As simple and as small as that can be really powerful. You don't have to be a writer to do it. Your journal can simply be a space where you just dump whatever's on your mind. And no one needs to read it. Hide it, keep it safe. It's really important to give this a try because I do find it is so powerful. And by the way, it's free. You don't have to go to therapy for this. You're not paying for anything. It's just such a great tool that any one of us can utilize. Try this practical exercise. You know me, I like practical exercises and tools. So, first step, the next time you feel urge to overeat or you just simply notice yourself getting tense or anxious, grab a notebook and start writing. Do not worry about grammar, spelling, or making sense. Just let it flow. Maybe you just start with, this is what I'm feeling, or I'm not sure what I'm feeling. You just start writing down what's going on. Step two, write out exactly what's bothering you. It could be something like, I feel overwhelmed at work. I don't know how to handle it. The kids are stressing me out. I'm not happy. I'm frustrated. I don't feel in control. Just start writing what's bothering you. And as you write, notice how your emotions shift. And again, this would be, can you pay attention to how your body feels? Remember, all emotions come with sensations in the body, little chemical cocktails creating sensations, physical feelings in the body. So notice how those sensations shift for you. How do your emotions shift? Writing allows you to acknowledge the feelings you're experiencing rather than stuffing them down, like repressing them or even compartmentalizing them. Often, just naming the feeling will give you some relief. We've talked about that a lot. One study, researchers found that people who wrote about their feelings for just 15 to 20 minutes a day for a few days experienced lower levels of stress, lower levels of cortisol in the body, and improved physical health. So their physical health numbers improved. Writing helps you process emotions rather than letting them stew inside where they might come out in negative behaviors later on. Okay, so let's shift to talking it out. Sometimes writing isn't enough and we need another human to listen to us. There's a reason therapists and support groups are so effective. Human connection helps regulate our emotions. And by the way, we are born this way, right? When we come into this world as infants, our whole nervous system is based on our caregiver's nervous system. So that connection with our caregiver is what teaches our nervous system how to regulate our emotions. Even if you're not in therapy, simply having someone to talk to, a friend, a family member, a mentor, can make a world of difference. If you have a spiritual practice, you can do this with God. I've seen people with strong spiritual faith beliefs really be able to utilize this practice in talking with God and really come to that sense of emotional processing in that manner. So through prayer, whatever that may be. So let's say you're feeling the urge to binge after a tough day. You're feeling this urge to overeat or overdrink. You might in that moment practice picking up the phone and calling a friend. You could say something like, I've had a really rough day. I can feel myself wanting to eat, even though I'm not hungry. Can I talk about it? Just the act of voicing your emotions helps you process them. Your brain shifts from emotional overwhelm to problem solving, to solution finding. Neuroscientists have found that when we talk about our feelings, the amygdala, the part of our brain responsible for emotional responses, actually calms down. We can see that in brain scans. It's like turning down the volume on your emotions. Talking about emotions does not make them go away, but it makes them more manageable. It takes down their intensity so we can get back to our prefrontal cortex and focus on solutions. So here's some of the risks of acting it out, which I'm sure many of you know. I know. When we don't write or talk about it, the risk is that we start acting out these emotions in really unhealthy ways. So imagine a child who can't express their frustration, right? They don't have the words to say what's going on. So they will throw a tantrum because they cannot use the words to say what they're feeling. As adults, our tantrums look different. We might withdraw from the people we care about. We might binge eat, overeat, overdrink, overwork, overscroll, all the things to avoid feeling our emotions. Hey everyone, just a real quick interruption. I'm really excited to tell you about PhysiVantage, a company I have used for years and years and who I have recently partnered with in an ambassadorship for the podcast. This is one of the highest quality supplement companies out there. And the best part is I know the owner and his commitment to quality in his products. I actually interviewed the owner, Eric Hurst, on the podcast a while back, and you can hear him talk firsthand about his commitment to quality in episode, I think it was 171, if you're interested. Also in that one, there was a ton you can learn about aging optimally and performing at your best. I think when people make the decision to add some supplements into their daily habits, they don't think often how important it is to know and vet the companies you are buying from. There is no regulation on supplements. And so when you buy something, you really have no idea what you are getting. You really want to vet the companies heavily so that you know what you are spending your money on and that you're getting exactly what you believe you are buying. So with PhysiVantage, you really don't have to think about it. What you buy is the highest quality of what you can get. I use the PhysiVantage PowerPlex plant-based protein complex. And no, I am not plant-based, but I'm not doing well with dairy right now. And whey protein causes some issues for me. This is something I'm working on. But in the meantime, in order for me to get in my optimal daily protein amount for maintaining lean body mass, keeping my appetite in check, and for athletic performance, I have to supplement with a protein powder. And this is my favorite. I alternate between vanilla and chocolate. And this plant-based protein complex is different than others out there in that it includes all the essential amino acids. So it's like a whey protein, it has all the essential amino acids. Most plant-based protein powders don't. It also has creatine and beta-alanine in it. These are huge bonuses. Plus, PhysiVantage plant protein only has a few carbs in it, where most plant protein powders have lots and lots. If you do well with whey protein, then use their whey protein blend. It's also really great. PhysiVantage has lots of great products that you can check out, but another one that I find so helpful for my goals and lifestyle
is Redux HP. And this is an all-natural pain relief, which helps to improve recovery from rigorous exercise, supports a healthy inflammation response, combats muscle breakdown, and improves performance. But the best is it's an all-natural way to relieve aches, pains, and muscle soreness. This has saved me from popping ibuprofen for the couple of migraines I was getting twice a month, as well as when I had a big climbing or biking day and would wake up sore. So if you don't know how bad things can get from popping Ibu, do a little research. Avoid Ibu, in my opinion, really important for our health long term. So anyway, using this product instead can be a really great way to lessen pain naturally and inflammation. You can get a discount on any PhysiVantage product by going to PhysiVantage.com. PhysiVantage is spelled PhysiVantage. So like physical advantage, PhysiVantage, and use my code Heather Heynen. Capital HEATHER, capital HEYNEN, all one word, no spaces, Heather Heynen, and you will save some money on any product you choose. I also have a link in the episode description below that you can use. Check it out and see all that they have to offer.
Acting it out might provide temporary relief, but it often leads to more pain in the long run. And that's why it's so important to have tools like writing and talking to prevent this emotional overflow. All right, so here's a simple tool I like to call the release plan. I share with lots of my clients a way to help you catch those emotions before they build up. So, proactively create a writing space. Keep a notebook nearby, use an app on your phone, and make a habit of checking in with yourself at least once a day. You can write a sentence or two about how you're feeling, or you can dive deeper when something feels really heavy. But starting to create that routine or that practice on a daily basis. Build a talk it out network. Identify 1 to 2 people in your life you feel comfortable talking to when emotions get intense. Make it a habit to reach out, even when things are not at their worst, so that you get used to sharing. This is, again, it's like a practice. It's a practice in sharing. You can combine writing and talking. Sometimes writing can help organize your thoughts before you talk. So you might jot down a few key emotions or experiences and then call a friend to talk through them. As we wrap up here, I just want to leave you with this. Emotions are part of being human, and they do need an outlet. By choosing to write it out or talk it out, you take back control of how you express and manage your emotions. By the way, that is called emotion regulation. You give yourself space to feel without letting those feelings take over. Remember that processing emotions, it's not about solving every problem immediately. It's about giving yourself permission to feel, express, and let go in healthy ways. Whether you pick up a pen or pick up the phone, know that each time you choose to process rather than suppress, you are moving closer to emotional freedom. And that is a beautiful place to live from. Thanks for tuning in today. I encourage you to try the release plan this week and see how it shifts your emotional landscape. Be kind to yourself. I'll see you in the next episode. We'll talk soon.
Did you know you can find a lot more help from me on my website? Go to heatherheynen.com. Heynen is spelled HEYNEN, and there you will find links to my online courses, how I work with clients one-on-one, as well as online with my coaching and counseling services that I offer. The information in this podcast is intended to provide a broad understanding and knowledge of healthcare topics. This information is for educational purposes only and should not be considered complete and should not be used in place of advice from your physician or healthcare provider. We recommend you consult your physician or healthcare professional before beginning or altering your personal exercise, diet, or supplementation program.